Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection, bringing you three unique perspectives of varying skill range. I am the arbiter of this episode, Andrew. With me are Jackal, Keith.
Hello.
And our adorable grunt, Liz.
Hey, guys.
And this week, we had multiple listed requests, because I asked you all to request it if you wanted us to continue. So we are doing Halo 2 Anniversary, which is brought to you by, originally from Bungie Studios, but the Anniversary Edition is brought to you by 343 Studios, and the cinematics are done by Blur Studios, which you guys may recognize. It's the same studio that did the Halo Wars.
Wow. Okay.
So they did the cinematics for Halo Wars.
Yeah, I didn't notice it, but okay. Cool.
I mean, Halo Wars is a lot older.
Yeah.
The Halo 2 Anniversary came out when Master Chief Collection came out, which was in 2014?
14? Really?
Yeah, Master Chief Collection's been out actually for some time.
Oh, wow.
I believe that is correct. So thank you for the people who requested this game. So thank you so much to Javier, Curtis, Peter, Until Chaos, Adam, Chaos and Passion. And there was actually a couple other people, but those are the first 6 people, so I wrote your names down. So if you guys want us to continue more Halo games, we're doing the same thing, but this time we need 10 people to request. So if you requested this game, you are allowed to request it again, but we want a total of 10 people if you guys still want us to do more Halo games. So, Halo 2. The story of Halo 2, you are once again playing Master Chief. You are trying to save humanity, but the Covenant have now discovered Earth's location. So you take it upon yourself to fight the Covenant and stop them from taking over Earth.
Of course you do, because you're
Yep.
Master Chief.
So, going around, Keith, we know you didn't care too much for Halo 1. Did Halo 2 change your perspective at all? Was this a gamer pass?
It's better than the first one, for sure. I mean, I found it more enjoyable overall. Yeah, I think it leans more into a game. I think there's just more to it in the way that it works. I think it plays better. But overall, I still just I don't know. I'm just not I'm not a Halo person, and I don't get excited about Halo.
So, gamer pass.
I said game.
Oh, you did? Oh, sorry.
It was
No,
like
you said it's leaning more towards a game, but then you said you don't like Halo. So I read that as a pass.
no. Ultimately, game. I'd say game.
Liz?
For me, this is a game. I love the story in Halo 2. I mean, I like the first one, but the story was just a bit more epic in this one. There are a couple gripes that I had, especially on like the technical side. But yeah, I'm definitely going to give it a game. I feel like the same way where it's like, I don't get jazzed about like, let's play Halo. But when I play Halo, it's a good time. And the story in this, I definitely wanted to keep going with. So yeah, definitely grabbed my attention more.
And then obviously for me, this is a definite game. Halo 2 is by far, for me, the best Halo. I think this is my favorite one.
So it's going to go downhill from here.
No, it doesn't go down. Like, Halo 3 is still very good. But like, I just have such amazing fond memories of Halo 2. Like, I remember I was a junior in high school when it came out. And I remember like midnight release. I couldn't go to it because, of course, school night. And man, midnight releases. Remember that thing?
Back in the day, before you could just pre-download games.
I know. I actually hated midnight releases.
They were
But
the
yeah, it was
worst.
just- I
Nobody
know.
liked them. Nobody liked working them. Nobody liked lining up to buy a game.
Oh, yeah, because you worked him. You worked at Best Buy at that time.
Yeah.
No, not at that time, but a little bit after.
We still did midnight releases when I was working at Best Buy. I don't think I ever had to do any. I might have worked
I don't
one.
think legally you could.
Yeah, I could. I worked there when I was older than 18.
Yeah.
Oh, he was talking about junior in high school.
Yeah, no, not at this time.
Yeah,
He
not
was
for
at
Halo, but just in
okay.
general.
But yeah, I actually don't miss midnight releases. They was always so awkward and cold. But yeah, I just remember like when this game came out, this wasn't just like, oh, people who like video games know this. I remember seeing like TV ads and cardboard cutouts throughout Walmart. Like this was a kind of a big gaming event. So Halo 2 was just, it was such an exciting time for me. And I was so upset that I couldn't play it and had to go to school the next day and then had to wait till I was done with school to finally go home and get it. And it took way too long. But Halo 2 is great. So this is a definite game for me. So getting to the story, Keith, can you tell us the story of Halo 2? Do you remember what happened in the first one?
Just so you know, he did this to me earlier, Keith.
Yep.
So
So-
that's why he picked you.
Well, so Halo 1, space shooty guy has to deal with all the angry aliens trying to do bad things, and then he blows up the big thing. Halo. Done. So in Halo 2, you have more space shooty guy, Master Chief, obviously, out there doing the shooting, doing the aliens. Got to get all of them shot. But then
Doing the aliens.
But then one of the aliens that was supposed to protect the Halo that you blew up, well, they didn't like him, so they decide to execute him. But then he gets pulled aside, and then they're like, hey, you can be the Arbiter, and then you can go fight other aliens. And so he does that. And then I didn't get all the way through. I got most of the way through, but I assume at the end, Master Chief and Arbiter meet up, and then Halo down. Delta Halo, that is, because I know that.
No.
Oh.
They don't blow up Delta Halo.
They do that
But
later.
They do meet up.
There's a cliffhanger at the end.
Oh.
Halo 2 has infamously like one of the worst endings because it's like such a cliffhanger. I mean, it's not too bad now, obviously, because you could go right into Halo 3 and the other Halos. But I remember at the time, like, the anger it caused.
But wouldn't it also be the best cliffhanger? Because people just want more. You know, the creators of Halo are like, people are going to play Halo 3 now.
They do. But do you remember this, like, early 2000s? Like, when streaming wasn't a thing, when you had to watch TV, like when you watched Lost, you know, it was on like Tuesday at 8 o'clock. And if you missed it that week, well, you're now an episode behind and there's no way you could find it because, you know, streaming wasn't a thing. And that's how it was like in video games. Like, TV shows always left you with such a cliffhanger at the end of the season, and it always irritated me because it's like, I'll see you in a year. And video games take longer than a TV show. So when it happened with this, it's like, cool, this will be another 3 years or so.
No, like with a TV show, it would end in like spring, and then in fall it would start up, right? So
sometimes
that's like, I mean, that less than half a year versus a game that takes a couple years.
Yeah,
that's way worse.
It was.
I'm also gonna say there is something to be said for that, because then they would come out like 6 months apart, whereas now I'm gonna binge watch a season in like a weekend, and then I have to wait like a year plus for the next season of said show. So you kind of have to wait longer for shows by getting it all at once. It's the pros and cons.
I'm terrible at binging. I'm terrible. I can't do it. So it takes me forever to finish a show.
It depends on the show and the time of the day. I don't do it so frequently as I used to, but I watched like a whole season of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That show, I feel like I could.
Well, a comedy show you can, because like a comedy show.
Yeah, like 20 minutes, it helps, obviously. But just saying in general.
And it's not like, oh, I can't wait to find out the story, because no, it's just like,
you just
in
watch,
one episode.
You just keep watching. But yeah, I'll let this say. There's pros and cons of the streaming. But I digress.
So, Keith, the end of Halo 2, Master Chief is chasing the last prophet, and he's heading to Earth.
Oh yeah,
and
killed
that's
one
how
of
the
them
game
prophets.
ends. Yeah, and the second one dies from the flood. So that's what you miss in the story, which is actually, Halo 2 has a fantastic story.
I also think that the little mini stories in it are kind of crazy and dark. Like you can get achievements for watching these videos, and you find out about the grunts, and I was just like, I feel like a monster. I did not like finding out that information. I mean, I guess I won't spoil it, but I mean, it is an old game. But then when one of the prophets did the other prophet dirty, like that whole scene, I was just like, wow. That was cold. that shocked me.
That shocked you that the aliens were bad?
But that's like next level, because they're always together. So you think they must be at least be friends, you know?
No, all the more reason that they're not. They all want the most power.
That's true.
The more power you have, generally speaking, the more people tend to want of it. It seems. So, I don't know.
So, I remember at the time, too, when this game came out, it was very controversial. But what did you guys think of seeing the Arbiter story and learning about him? Because a lot of people, when this happened, people were like, this is stupid. I play this game because I want to be Master Chief. Why am I playing an alien?
Oh, I liked it. I think it was also the voice actor as well, because I recognized him. I loved the scenes with the Arbiter. I was really like, I honestly was, I don't want to say more interested in him. But actually, I will say it. I think I was more interested in the Arbiter, but I really enjoyed going back and forth, but like not to get like ahead into gameplay, but it really messed me up playing. So that's the only reason why I didn't like the back and forth, because I was like, who am I killing right now? Sometimes it's like one set of aliens, another set of aliens, and then sometimes you're the alien and and you'd think that you'd go after the humans. It was a lot for me to process.
Yeah. I like one of our listeners who listened to the Halo episode, our listener Adam said that he's just like, yeah, Liz, on your podcast, you struggled to figure out who was friendly or foe. She's going to struggle with the Arbiter. I'm actually surprised. You actually did pretty well.
Because I asked you, but also, like, there's no in-game subtitles. And so sometimes they're talking to me and I'm playing. And for some reason, with subtitles, like, I can kind of read and play. But when you're talking to me and I'm doing something, it's like, no, I can't. I don't know what that says about me, but I was like, did they just tell me who to shoot? Like, I don't, and I was like, how do you know? Like, I just assumed they were telling me, and that's why I couldn't figure it out.
No, I always told you, look at your reticle.
Yeah,
it's good.
That's what I was going to say. I just went by what the reticle color was. If it was red, then right trigger. If it was green, then,
right trigger anyway. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, no, because they shoot back.
Yeah, if you kill enough of them, they betray them.
I can't remember what mission it was, but I ran them over with a ghost a few too many times, and they chased me around shooting.
Surprisingly, that never happened to Liz.
The best
There was a couple times a door would open and she'd start throwing grenades, and I'm like, no, they're friendly.
The best part about it is there was a checkpoint that saved, so every time I died, I had to go back to the checkpoint and have to like kill this human that had just been chasing me forever.
He said, screw the aliens, I'm going after you now.
Well, he wouldn't leave me alone, so I had to. I didn't have any options. But yeah, I found that out the fun way. I didn't shoot them intentionally, though, no. I just went by the reticle color on whether or not I shot. But I thought the Arbiter was, I don't know, it was kind of interesting. I think they look, like, it's funny because you always see them with the armor on. You're like, oh, those are big, beefy things. And then they take his armor off, and he's this tiny little wormy creature.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, ew. Put that back on, please.
Naked.
Yeah, I liked him better when he had his armor on. I know that for sure. But I thought he had cool armor and stuff. And yeah, it's one of those funny things that I can get like the Halo purist, like, oh no, don't you take away my Master Chief from me. All I want to do is be Master Chief. But at the same time, I like when games expand their playability, and adding in the aliens, it made for fun multiplayer. Because you had like these like alien versus human teamings, and then you have, I don't know, just more elements to the game. You weren't just picking up alien weapons and using them as Master Chief. You were equipped with them. You used them. I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah, for me, I even at the time, I loved the fact that they went and you played as the Arbiter, because it also just makes sense for the story. Because as we said in the first one, like when you play Halo 1, the story is very minimal. And it makes sense, these aliens, they just hate humans. They just want to wipe humans out. So it kind of makes sense to be like, well, how am I ever going to learn about the aliens? Like, what's their deal? Like, why do they hate us so much? You get it through like some context from what Cortana tells you. But it made sense to play the Arbiter, see and understand their hierarchy, understand their like religious like zeal, and just like understand like why they're doing the things that they're doing. So I loved it.
That's a big thing with the religion, because you're like, why are you just gearing up to go kill yourselves? Because that's what, essentially what, activating it is going to do. It's going to kill everything within a certain area. So you're like, why the heck are you doing this? So it's kind of fun seeing him kind of discover that he's being lied to.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the power struggle, and then introducing the new aliens of the brutes, and like how they kind of fit in this role, and how they're basically trying to take out the elites and, be the number 2 people on the
and it
charity.
Also, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should say this. I mean, like I said, it's an old game, but when you find out that the Arbiter is being betrayed, which I already kind of figured it out, but when he figures it out and they try to kill him, I was like, oh no, you don't. And I saw him going to that pit. I'm like, that's not the end of him. No way. Because I just knew in my heart, I was like, they can't do that.
And then the look on your face when you're like, and then your face when you're like, oh, did the Arbiter Master Chief become best friends? Like, you got so excited.
And then you told me I'd have to kind of wait to see them play together in Halo 3. But yeah, I was just waiting for that bromance to come and happen.
It doesn't blossom till Halo 3. And I think if we do continue another Halo game, we'll probably go with Halo 2 ODST.
Oh.
Because like I said, it's like an in-between. ODST is telling the story of what happens to the humans, because the humans still on Earth, because obviously the Covenant are still there and attacking and fighting. So you kind of have this cool in-between story where you play just a regular human.
So the funny thing is I actually bought ODST I can't
Really?
remember. There's a reason why. There was something.
Firefight, probably.
Yes, that was why I very much wanted to do the firefight mode, and
Yep.
So
was
yeah, I
great
had
mode.
bought ODST actually, and that was probably one of the only Halo games I ever bought.
Wow.
I think maybe Reach. I can't remember. No, I didn't buy Reach. Yeah, just that one.
I was also just thinking too, I feel like a lot of people might like Master Chief because of all the one-liners. I mean, Andrew, you like them a lot
Oh,
too.
yeah. There's
So
a lot of
I
great
think-
one-liners from him and Sergeant Johnson.
Yeah, so maybe that's why people were upset they didn't get as much of him.
Well, and so, like, you probably enjoyed the Arbiter, too, because they actually made the Arbiter more of a character. When Bungie created the Halo games, they originally said they wanted to keep Master Chief kind of like a blank slate. That's why they don't show his face, because they wanted players to kind of see themselves as the Master Chief and kind of just see him as just like, you know, you're playing as him. You're kind of his character, which is a lot of the reason why a lot of people are hating the TV show, because very first episode they take his helmet off, and that's like everyone's like, no, we don't want that. That's stupid.
It's like
But
the
yeah,
Mandalorian.
Yeah, except the Mandalorian didn't even do it on the first episode. But yeah, the Halo show's kind of not great. I'm not really enjoying it, but that's another story. But yeah, so I love that they just added so much more character and depth to the Arbiter, and I'm surprised how well they did it, because I remember when that first happened too, I'm like, I'm not going to remember any of these people because all the aliens look the same. But they actually did a good job with the voice actors and the lines, and actually kind of creating the unique characteristics of the different aliens to kind of remember who they are.
I wanted to ask, so Andrew, you said that you enjoyed the books. You read 4 of them, I believe.
Yeah.
Is the story just like the games? Like, is it?
So there originally was like a trilogy. The first one is Fall of Reach, and then the second book was Halo, and then the other one is I can't remember what it was called. It was named after like the alien ship. But the Halo book, so the second one is very similar to Halo 1. So that one was my least favorite because it is just a lot of what you did in the game, but it did tell a lot of the stories of the humans, what was going on with the humans when you played Halo 1.
What came out first?
The Fall of Reach.
No, I mean like the books of the games.
Oh, the games.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's surprising me. I don't know why. I wanted to ask you guys, what were your favorite weapons? So with this game, when I played by myself, I was like fiddling with stuff and I did like unlimited ammo and stuff. But playing like with the game with Andrew, I played all the levels like without that, obviously. But I really liked it because I would run out of bullets really quick. So I was constantly changing weapons, and I found that there were some that I really didn't like and some that I really loved. So
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys liked.
I knew we were going to get into Halo 2 because I remember in Halo 1, you loved the assault rifle because it had like a 60 bullet clip and you had a lot of fun with it. And I knew, I was like, Liz is going to love the SMG when it comes to Halo 2. And sure enough, as soon as you picked that gun up, I was like, Liz, you can dual wield. You got so excited.
I did love that, but I really liked the carbine, the battle rifle, the energy sword, and then I did like the needler, but it didn't pack as much punch at the beginning or with certain enemies, I guess.
It does when you do wield it.
It does, but I still think I preferred like the other 3 that I mentioned because I just felt like they packed way more punch and they were so fun. And I just loved, like, whenever I found one, I would get so excited. And especially with the sword, I just felt so tough that I would just run
sword
into
is
the
a
middle
ton
of battle.
fun. And especially multiplayer. It's a fun
The
weapon.
sword was an addition to Halo 2, right?
Correct.
That was the first one.
You
Yeah.
saw it in Halo 1, but you can never pick it up.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I do remember that. I remember the days of our LAN parties, and whoever would get the sword was basically just terrorizing everybody in a match.
Yep.
So that was always fun. But yeah, the sword is naturally a ton of fun. And which game is it? You get the hammer. Is that 3?
Halo 3.
Yeah, because I thought you liked the sword, Liz. Just wait till you get the hammer.
I don't know. I feel like she's going to...
I mean, the sword, it did get me killed a lot because I went in just thinking that I was just the toughest guy in the room, and I most certainly was not.
Yeah, that happens. But I agree. I mean, I think the battle rifle and the carbine are probably just the most fun. They're just they pack a punch. They're pretty easy to aim even from a distance, and you can pretty easily hit headshots. So I feel like they're kind of naturally the same, but I do love that aspect of the gameplay where you can dual wield just about any weapon. I mean, obviously you can't with a battle rifle, anything that would be like two-handed, but if it's a one-handed gun, you can dual wield it. And
yeah, and you can mix and match.
Exactly. So I think that's just a cool feature of like being able to mix and match your guns and how you use them. I didn't like the Needler though. I just always find myself disappointed with the Needler. I want to like it, and I'm like, no, I'm not good with it.
Oh man, the Needler is just a ton of fun. I love the Needler.
I found myself using the scope on guns, which I don't normally do because I usually suck at sniping. And even if it wasn't like a sniper rifle, you can still zoom in with a lot of guns. And I was really surprised how much I liked that. And then I forgot to mention, I hated all the guns that would what's it called? They would overheat. So especially
a lot of the alien guns.
Yeah, like the brute plasma rifle and those were my least favorite because I just blast away. I don't like having to think about like slow shooting.
See, my hands down favorite is the Covenant Carbine. I love that gun. Like, I know a lot of people love the battle rifle, but for me, I would take the Covenant Carbine any day over the battle rifle. I just love that gun. It was always so satisfying. I loved the sound effects it did. I loved how it reloaded. It was just a really fun gun. I was very disappointed in the SMGs. It does come back, but you can only use it solo. I think in Halo 4.
Yeah,
it goes away in 3.
It was nice to have a fully automatic gun, but all in all, it didn't feel very fun. It wasn't very good at aiming.
It's nice to have when you're fighting the Flood.
Yes, that or like if you have a bunch of grunts you're fighting, you can kind of mow them down, but overall, nothing special, no.
Yeah, but I love just the added guns they had in this one, especially too, as we said in Halo 1, like the alien guns in the first one are just not that interesting. At least this time around, they added some interesting ones. You know, the beam rifle, the sword, the Covenant Carbine, the brute plasma rifle.
Is the fuel rod cannon in the first one?
No, and that's actually another one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I love the fuel rod cannon in Halo 2.
That's another one that in multiplayer that if someone got that, oh, geez.
Yeah,
because that's another one with the sound effect. Like, it's just such a cool sound effects,
and it does like a really big green glowing ball when it's shooting. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's an awesome gun,
and you can shoot it rapidly. It has like a 5 or 6 bullet clip. You can just like shoot multiple rockets. Yeah, that's a ton of fun. I want to like the brute shot, but every time I pick it up, I'm so disappointed in it because it's like, oh, it's a grenade launcher, but it has such a small ammo clip that to me it's never worth picking up.
I don't think I ever did.
There was one grenade launcher that I picked up because there was one on the ground, and then they had the those things that fall down, and you get the extra ones.
The ammo drop pods.
Yeah, so okay. I would use it, and then I would just go over and pick up all the shells, and so I was just like blasting away, and I had the best time. I don't know which one it was, but it was a grenade launcher.
I don't either because there's only one grenade launcher.
It was something that only.
So it was a human gun.
Maybe, I don't know.
You're saying it came from a drop pod. Only human guns come from a drop pod.
No, they also come from in the aliens. They don't drop down, but they're in the ground already.
Okay, so yeah, that was the brute shot then.
Yeah, so I forget which one it was, but I would never pick them up because I was like, in 5 bullets, I'm gonna need another weapon.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when I saw that pod, I was like, and we were in an area where there's a ton of enemies, so I'm like, I can easily pick up another weapon. I mean, not easily because I did struggle with that, but I would always try to pick up a gun and pick up the wrong one. But yeah, and then also driving the tank. The right trigger with that was really hefty.
Yeah, the main cannon. It shoots fast.
Yeah, and I really loved the tanks and the hovercrafts and stuff. Like, I actually really enjoyed it. And I don't know if it was easier in Halo 2 or if I just was used to it from Halo 1. But I just really enjoyed it this game.
No, they drastically improved the driving for a lot of vehicles in Halo 2.
I would hop into anything and I would just naturally get it.
I think I said this when we did Halo 1, and I stand by it in Halo 2. I just love vehicles in the Halo games. That is one thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I actually don't remember you saying that in Halo 1.
They're just a ton of fun. Like, I wouldn't want a full racing game that drives the way they do. I probably wouldn't want it in any other game. There's just something about the sway, the drift. It just always feels fun driving a vehicle in Halo. And I think that like all the alien ones drive like buttery smooth, I guess. It's like the ghosts and the banshees. Like, it doesn't feel hard to fly in a banshee or to get into those dogfights. It's just everything feels good.
It always sucked when you ended up dying and then you didn't have one anymore. It's the same when like if you got your favorite weapon and you died and you couldn't recover your body. It was just like, crap, now I have to walk.
That always makes Liz so sad. Anytime she dies, respawn. That's the first thing. There's literally a fight going on, and she's like, "Where's my body? Where's my body?"
Andrew knows you do not touch my weapons.
And it's funny because you just have very generic guns. I'm like, Liz, you literally can find 20 of those guns in this room. Like, don't worry about it. You're like, no, these are mine.
No, because a lot of times you have like the crappy plasma ones laying around, and if I get like the perfect combination, like no,
don't touch my stuff. So Keith, I didn't realize you liked the driving. And that's unfortunate because you never played the end of Halo 1. And the end of Halo 1 ends in a really awesome Warthog driving like race.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. And I could go back and play it. It's not like I can't. But
yeah.
But yeah, overall, I actually do. I think the driving is a lot of fun in Halo.
So Keith, you played solo.
Yeah.
So that was a new thing they added in Halo 2 is that the AI can now drive the vehicle and you can be on the turret. Because that was the thing a lot of people complained about in Halo 1. They're like, I don't have a friend to play with and I want to use the gun. So they let the AI drive. Did you ever do that?
I tried one time and the guy just stood there and he wouldn't drive. So then
That's awkward.
Yeah, so then I just got in the driver's seat and then I drove. But I didn't mind because they were pretty good at shooting stuff. So it was a lot of fun just carting him around.
They can be pretty bad at driving, though. Because that happened to me where I meant to drive the car, but I jumped on the back and he was just like hitting a wall. And I was like, I'm just going to get out.
Yeah, the AI is not great when it comes to driving. It's manageable, but it's not great. I will say, I actually disagree, Keith. I actually think the AI sucks worse at shooting in Halo 2 than they are in 1. Because in Halo 2, I felt like when they were in the gunner, I had to be close to the enemy for them to finally recognize it's an enemy and start shooting. Because, like, near one of the last levels me and Liz were playing, there was a dropship literally blasting us. And my allies were just, like, staring at nothing. And I'm like, can you guys shoot the ship that's shooting us? Like, what are you guys doing? And they just, like, stood there.
Guys.
So they kind of annoyed me. But, yeah, there's a couple new vehicles in Halo 2, of course. You got the Spectre, which is the Covenant's version of the Warthog. Which I thought, I agree, Keith. I think that thing did actually drive buttery smooth. I actually think that is a ton of fun of vehicle, but I think Halo 2 is the only one they brought it in, which is kind of unfortunate. And then actually that's it. Oh, then they actually introduced the Gauze Warthog, which I think is a fantastic addition. I love that Warthog.
Can you actually be in, is it the Scarab, the tank? Can you actually drive one in the first one?
No, you will never drive one.
You never get an alien tank?
Oh, you mean the Wraith?
Oh, Wraith.
Yeah, like,
sorry, not the Scarab.
Yeah, the Scarab is the giant walking, like...
Oh, yeah, I meant the Wraith.
Like, sorry. City. Yeah, the Wraith, no, you can. Because in Halo 2, you can hijack vehicles, so you can hijack the Wraith and kick them out.
I didn't know if you could do it if you drove one in Halo 1. Because it's like...
No, not in Halo 1.
Because it's not new, but it's new for you to play with, I guess.
Which hijacking them is really fun. And then, I don't know why I thought of this when we were talking about hijacking, but... the, I guess, boss that you beat by punching.
Yeah, the Prophet. That's kind of funny. I like that moment.
I don't know why I just thought of that, but yeah.
Yeah, Halo 2.
Get close to him.
Yeah, you have to board him and just keep punching with the face. That's a great scene. I love that they added that.
There's really just weird moments throughout the game that are like, they're not slapstick by any means, but it's like cheeky. Like there's one of them. Did you say Sergeant Jenkins? Johnson. He's the guy with the cigar, right?
Yep.
Like when you come on a jump drive and everyone's like, is everyone all right? And he looks down at a cigar and he goes, well, yep, I'm okay. That's all he cared about.
Oh, yeah. No, he has,
cheeky.
He has some great lines. I love Sergeant Johnson. But speaking of the bosses, though, what did you guys actually think of the boss fights? There's like 2? No, 3.
Does it say, is it basically the prophets?
There's the Heretic, the Prophet Regret, and then Tartarus in the end. So I guess you didn't interact with Tartarus.
The Heretic wasn't very difficult, but he was annoying.
Would you play on normal?
Yeah.
The difficulty on him drastically changes.
Does it?
From normal to hard in Legendary. Well, all the boss fights, I should actually say. On normal, you literally just have to do like one round with them and take them out. But like every time you're increasing difficulties, you like, when you fight a boss, you hit them and they'll like retreat, call enemies, and then you got to do like multiple rounds of fighting him and like getting on him or whatever.
Normal, it wasn't bad because I actually don't really remember them that well. Like it wasn't like a long fight.
Yeah, because we played on normal, so
especially with 2 people. Once. I mean, Andrew kind of carried the team, so yeah, kind of forgettable on normal with another person.
Yeah, that's generally why I recommend playing the game on hard. I always find Halo to be like hard is like the normal difficulty. Easy is way too easy. Liz, I know you keep wanting to do easy, but I'm like, it is so boring. It's just too easy. And normal, I think, is pretty
only
easy.
one level that we really like struggled with, like both of us dying, and that's
it was a
because
vehicle level.
Well, because there was a couple levels that we were just trying to get through as quickly as possible because this game is so flippin' buggy. Like, it would crash so many times on the same levels, and Andrew's just like, we're just going to run. We're just going to run. And, of course, then all the enemies are coming after you from, like, the different areas. But, which, I mean, the game is, like, so old, I was kind of surprised by that.
Well, Halo 2 isn't the game that's actually crashing. It's the whole game as itself, the Master Chief Collection. When this game first came out, yeah, it was riddled with bugs.
When did the collection come out?
2014. Yeah, it should have been fixed by now. And, like, they have fixed a lot, but they've mostly been focusing on the multiplayer because the multiplayer was unplayable when the Master Chief Collection came out.
I mean, if I wasn't playing with you, I might have given up, like, halfway through because it was, I think, 5 times on one level. And sometimes it would wait till like the very end of the level. I didn't get an achievement for one of the levels, which means that I did not get an achievement for beating the game on normal. So, I mean, these are pretty infuriating.
Oh, yeah.
See, I didn't run into any when I was playing solo.
And I think that's the thing. I think it's just strictly because we were playing multiplayer.
Yeah, because I honestly didn't have any issues from like a bug perspective while I was playing.
And it is unfortunate because Halo is just a ton of fun in co-op. This is such a fun co-op game. And of course, because when one person dies, as long as the other person stays alive, your friend can respawn. In which this always happens every time I play co-op, and I know even Liz is not immune. When you're sitting in an elevator with your friend, you just can't help but point your gun at their head and pull the trigger.
No, I would
I'm telling Liz, I'm like, don't do it, Liz.
No, I
don't do it.
meleeed you once, and then you just kept blasting at me.
Because I warned you. It's like, if you do it,
But
I will
didn't kill you. I just think that it was a very drastic response to just someone giving you a little nudge.
Nope, I warned you. I am nothing but a man of my word. If I say you hit me, I will kill you.
If you're petty enough to kill someone for giving you a little nudge, then of course I'm going to keep going.
But then I love this. This happens every time I play co-op. One person kills the other person, and so the other person's like, well, I got to get revenge. And then it becomes like a 15-minute battle of you guys just shooting each other out of spite.
And you're the type of person, you will not let someone get you last.
Well, you never hit me once. You meleeed me that one time, and then the other time you couldn't hit me ever again. I kept killing you because I kept telling you to back off, and you kept going after me, so I kept shooting you.
That was like us in
Juvenile.
Was it Left 4 Dead that we were playing, and we had those 2 random people who were just running to the end of the map and waiting for us, but we'd just be sitting there like pushing each other up the ledge.
No,
what game was that?
Wasn't it Quake?
Yeah, it was Quake.
Yeah, I remember it being like an obscure other first-person shooter. Yeah, it was Quake. I remember that. It was just
Quake was multiplayer?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Andrew and I were
four
playing, and yeah, we had these 2 random people just rushing us through. If you want the full story, you can go back and listen to that episode, I guess. But it was very funny.
Was funny.
And I agree. Yeah, if your friend hits you in a multiplayer game co-op that has friendly fire, you are, I think, legally entitled to hit them back, and if not, also obligated as well. Yeah, it's like that's just like gaming 101.
Yeah, but I am proud. Liz one time, didn't hold it against me. She died, and I was literally in the middle of sniping someone, and her character spawned literally right in front of my crosshairs, and I sniped her right in the back of the head and killed her.
Oh my god, that was another spawn I had. There was another one where I was at a checkpoint where one of my friendlies was riding a ghost, and as I was loading into the checkpoint, he came slamming into my ghost every time, but I was jumping off of it. So if I didn't immediately move when I spawned, he would just kill me.
Well, there's also, like, I died because I fell off, as I do, and it kept spawning me free-falling. And over again, and then eventually it stopped.
Oh yeah, because we were on like a kind of a catwalk tight area,
Yeah.
and so it kind of kept spawning you in a bad angle.
But I feel like we were both mature in that I accidentally hit you a couple times, and it was a mistake. And I never retaliated when we were playing the game. It was just in the elevators.
Yeah.
Generally, if it's an accident, you can let it go. If it's intentional, there's all bets are off, all of them.
And I always told Andrew if I was dead. And be like, just so you know, you're on your own. That was a lot, though.
Yeah. You always did a good job. You're just like, I'm dead. It's like, all right, I'll fall back. This respawning in Halo 2 is so much more friendlier. In Halo 1, you had to like run a mile away from action, but in this one, it's a lot more friendly to respawn people. Better. There was a couple times I died, Liz, and you saved the team.
Oh my goodness. There was one time. Oh my gosh. Because so usually I would go back a little bit and then he would respawn. When there was one level, I could not.
It's because the flood. It was the flood and they were chasing you.
Yeah, and they were brutes, right? They were the big hefty guys. And
yeah, there was a couple in there.
Yeah, so Andrew died, and I could tell right away. Andrew is waiting for me to die, and I was like, I cannot now, no way. And I was like jumping around like a crazy person, waiting for my shield to come up, and I beat them. It took me a while because every time my shield was really low, I would just like hop around like a little bunny. But I was so proud of myself because I just knew that Andrew was waiting for me to fail.
Proud of you, Liz.
But you didn't. You did such a good job.
Oh, that was one of my favorite moments gaming ever, I think. It's real sad.
That's reasonable.
But yeah, so I think just like the Halo 2, like the overall gameplay though is just a ton of fun. Like I loved the set pieces in Halo 2 as well. I remember in Halo 1, we complained about, because even to like I at least knew the maps, but the design of the maps in Halo 1 are very confusing. You can easily get lost. But I found Halo 2 to be so much more friendlier to figure out where you need to go. I kept trying to have you take lead, Liz.
I struggled sometimes.
You did. But
I did. And I'd have to ask Andrew where to go. Yeah. But I think, too, like there were sometimes, like when Andrew takes the lead, I kind of don't even pay attention. I, at one point, thought I was just going back and forth between these two structures.
When we're in High Charity, which is near the end.
But I really wasn't paying attention because I was thinking about it after. I was like, wait, I've never seen that before. But I definitely got a little lazy, as I do when I'm playing with Andrew.
Did you struggle at all navigating, Keith?
No, not as a whole. There was a few times like probably like an actual handful where I was like, I kind of don't know, but generally it didn't take me more than like 30 seconds to a minute of like kind of just like walking around and be like, oh, okay, here it is. And then I find my direction. Because one of the nice things, and maybe it did this in the first one and I don't remember, but you have a lot of levels with friendlies and they'll kind of like run to the spot you need to be. So if you're not sure, just look for them, and that's usually where you're supposed to be.
I heard the game telling me this way at one point, and I was like, oh, they're trying to help me.
Yeah, every so often it would give you a little waypoint. I couldn't, like, it was usually like when I was like flying a Banshee, I felt like.
Yeah, which is understandable because you're flying around a massive structure.
Yeah, exactly. So it would give me like a little like purple icon of like, this is where I'm supposed to like aim and land, and then it would usually go into like a cutscene.
So I think the level designs are so much better in Halo 2, but this is also Halo 2 Anniversary, so this game has a massive graphical overhaul. And I gotta say, I love the Halo 2 Anniversary Overhaul. You know, as I complained in Halo 1, the Anniversary Edition wasn't as great because the geometry didn't equal to the original game. So every once in a while you would hit invisible walls. That really does not happen in Halo 2 Anniversary. They did a fantastic job following the actual geometry of the original game. They just added a lot more foliage. They really, improved the actual atmosphere of the game. Out in the distance, they actually added more mountains, cityscapes, and stuff like that. Like, I loved the graphic overhaul of Halo 2.
I was surprised everything was there in the original. They just made it better.
Yeah.
And so I actually really enjoyed it. And you can also, during the cutscenes, Andrew pointed this out before we started, you can change it mid cutscene.
Yeah, which you couldn't in Halo 1. You could see the original video if you were on original graphics when the video started, but you couldn't switch mid-video.
Yeah, one of the interesting things about it was the sound differences. And I'm sure they did this in the first one too, but the guns got an overhaul. I think the voice acting got an overhaul. Like, everything just got better when you went into the anniversary mode or whatever.
Yeah, like original Halo 2 is like mono. And then, like, the Anniversary Halo 2 is, like, surround sound.
Yeah, like, kicks in and you can just feel it. Sorry, let's go ahead.
Oh, I also just wanted to say, too, that at one point they're like, oh, to use your flashlight, do this. And I'm just like, why do I need my flashlight? And then just like, oh, this is, like, the dark level. So when you go to the original graphics, it's just, like, all black.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's why. So I actually didn't need it in the Anniversary Edition.
Yeah, I forgot. Halo 2 is very dark. Like, a lot of levels you go to, it's just really dark, and it's kind of hard to see things. So, like, the graphical overhaul just just added lighting, which is something this game honestly needed.
But also that, like, what is it? The flower type creature?
The Gravemind.
Yeah, that was a big change.
Yeah, he got a big overhaul. Yeah, he just looks like a Venus flytrap in the original Halo 2.
I just, even though the newer one was just so much uglier, I couldn't stop looking at him.
Yeah, he's very grotesque in the remake.
I played a lot actually on the original graphics because I still think the graphics are actually really good for how old that game was. But
they are just the environments.
They definitely are, and I won't lie. Obviously, it would probably be a pretty dumb comment, but the anniversary graphics are gorgeous. Like when you switch over to them, all of the guns look so nice. Like the way that the Carbine, normally your ammo display is just like a little green line that just drains, but when you go to the anniversary, it's like this holographic image. It's just so cool looking. The gun is so much shinier. So yeah, I did like that, but I actually always switched over to the anniversary graphics for the cutscenes because the cutscenes were gorgeous for the anniversary. I don't know. Is it?
Yes.
Is it enhanced for the Series X too? Because I don't think I've announced it officially on the podcast. I officially have a Series X.
You said it last week. You just said you didn't set it up.
Oh, that's right. I do have it set up now. So I was playing this on my Series X.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Congrats. But no, it's not enhanced at all for the Series X because this came out
2014.
Yeah, 2014.
I didn't know if they might have gone back and done it. Microsoft
it might have an FPS boost at best, but I don't think it has any sort of graphical enhancements.
Gotcha.
Like no HDR or anything or ray tracing.
Gotcha.
I wish that I had been in the old graphics when I was looking at either invisible enemies or if I was invisible myself, because that's one thing I couldn't really compare because I always forgot to do it when I was fighting. But is it a lot different?
I think it's easier to spot in original graphics if someone's invisible.
Yeah, that makes sense. It probably
I like the shimmeriness. Like I think it looks good, but
I will say the one thing I think I preferred for the original graphics, I actually liked the original design of the Elites. To me, they looked kind of cooler. Like they're a lot more kind of skinnier and sleeker looking. In Halo 2, they definitely made them like beefier, which isn't bad, but I don't know. I think for me, I mean, I obviously grew up with the original design of them. For me, I like the original design of the aliens, of the Elites.
I don't know if I noticed that as much.
But, oh man, I'm glad they at least revamped the Jackals. The original look of the Jackals is so janky looking. They just look so like a dead bird with just teeth. And then, the anniversary, they did such a better job.
I was going to say, they kind of look like Skeksis.
Oh, yeah. Everyone was just describing them as vultures, which... Skeksis were essentially vultures.
Keith, you said earlier that you thought that they revamped the voice acting. Did you say that earlier?
It seemed like it. Or at the very least, I think like what Andrew was saying is they improved the audio.
Okay. So I wasn't sure if it was the same voice actors.
It was same voice actors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they must have just improved it to like stereo or something because it is noticeable. Like it gets louder and clearer when you go to the anniversary.
Because I was blown away by the voice actors in this. So, like, this came out in 2004.
Yep.
There were so many that I recognized that I pointed out. Julie Benz, she played Miranda Keyes. But there was Keith David, the Arbiter, Ron Perlman, and all these voices are just like immediately was like, oh my gosh, these people are in this because they were kind of big at the time.
And it's crazy. Ron Perlman's literally at the beginning and then one line at the very end.
Yeah, but I thought
Jack
that
Black.
like,
yeah,
right.
Or Terry Crews. Oh, Terry Crews would have been good.
I thought that these fit really well. And then, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Miguel Fur I recognized when I looked it up. But David Cross, John Michael Higgins, like there were like some pretty famous people in this.
Yeah, David Cross wasn't famous at this time. Like he was just starting to get famous. Like Arrested Development was early 2000. And Arrested Development's really kind of when he took off.
But a lot of the rest, they were popular in the 90s. And then Master Chief, I didn't recognize, I don't know who he is.
Steve Downs.
But his voice is just iconic.
Yeah.
Like, it was just such like a star-studded cast.
I noticed David Cross. I didn't go actually look it up.
He's generic Marine, which he played generic Marine in Halo 1.
Oh, that's even weirder. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
He even plays generic Marine, I think, in Halo 3.
So just kind of does it as a running gag at that point when he started to get a little bit of fame.
Yep.
That's even
It's pretty
better.
awesome. No, in Halo 3, there's actually a good amount of new voice actors as well, and there's a good amount of hidden ones as well. I don't know if I should spoil it.
Now I feel like you have to because I really want to know.
I mean, it's something like crazy. It's not Jack Black.
Okay, who is it?
But there is 2 Marines in Halo 3 where it's Conan O'Brien and Andy Richter talking.
Oh, wow.
They actually do a voice line in it as well.
I really want to know, and I don't know if we can Google this, but I want to know if Ron Perlman plays video games because he's been in quite a few. West of Dead, is that what it's called? I just can't
you remember that game.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. Yeah, I remember it because of him. But I just can't imagine him playing video games.
Probably not. I mean, he's just kind of older, and I feel like the older
it's
you
not
get, the
even
more you
that, but like, I mean, he was in like a lot of like tough roles. You know, I'm picturing him as like some of the characters that he's played in the past. I'm just like, I want to know.
I mean, he played Hellboy, which is based off a comic.
Yeah.
So I mean, he may.
But same with like Julie Benz. But I guess like the reason why I always think this is because like Rahul Kohli, like he's a gamer. Like he like paints like the little figurines and like he's like really into it. So I just like I wonder like how many voice actors in the games that we play actually play the games.
Probably not a lot. They just like to get paid. But so Keith, you brought it up though, so I want to ask you guys, which character should be played by Jack Black? Would you think this would improve the game?
Arbiter, obviously.
Really?
I just love the guy that played the Arbiter too much.
He's too good.
I want to veto that.
Say, I have an answer.
Who?
All right, so I know there's obviously some good choices to
Grunt?
to be funny. Yeah, you could do like the Grunt. No, I legitimately think if he was in it, he should play one of the Oracles. I feel like Jack Black would be great for that role.
Oh, you know what? He actually is a good actor when he gets killed. So he. Oh wait, oracles. I'm thinking of
the Oracle. They're the floating light bulbs.
Oh, I was thinking of the long neck people.
No, that's the Prophet.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I would agree with that. The Oracle, yeah. Honestly, just squeeze them in there anyway, and like anywhere. I don't care.
How awesome would it be if it was like a grunt? Because they don't say much, and then every once in a while you just hear like Jack Black's voice.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Like an actually like speaking like perfectly understandable words.
I'll never be able to hear like the celebration when they died. Like I just can't enjoy it now. After hearing their story.
Well, that was hilarious. Yeah, when we saw the video and like Liz found the sad like history of the grunts, and then Liz was like, I don't want to kill them anymore. And then next level, I'm popping them in the head, and all the children are going, yay!
And you were like, do you want me to turn it off? Yeah. But then I still kind of enjoyed it, but I felt bad. And then I also feel like we gotta talk about the music. Because when you switch back and forth because of copyright stuff, like the music is different. There were times where that rock music came on and I was just like, this is a vibe, man. Like I really, really loved it. So I just think like with audio, when it comes to voice actors and music, I just think they killed it. Like, didn't it get you like revved up?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's classic Halo. The soundtrack is always good. It always lands. There's really just nothing bad to say about the Halo soundtrack.
So I remember in this one, it was extra good in the original because like they actually went like even more all out on the music. So in the original, like, which I don't think a lot of the original songs are there anymore. Even when you play original graphics, you could hear the music kind of change a bit, but due to copyright issues, I think that's why they don't have them anymore. But in the original one, which you can still listen to on Spotify, it had Incubus. Incubus did like 3 songs. It had Hoobastank, Breaking Benjamin. Like they actually got like significant bands to actually like play music for the original Halo 2.
Hoobastank. I just can't think like Hoobastank and Halo.
I know.
That's that.
I'm very glad they didn't keep that original soundtrack. I don't.
You don't want that old school butt rock?
I don't need some breaking butt rock to get me through my Halo experience. I was quite content with the music that they had.
I think that Halo can pull off a lot of different types of music with this. Because there is quite a bit of humor, the one-liners. I don't know. I think they can pull off quite a bit.
I will say, I think I enjoyed the music actually more in Halo 1. Because I actually felt in Halo 1, the music kicked in a lot more than it does in Halo 2. It has its moments in Halo 2. There's obviously quite a bit of big epic battle moments where music kicks in, but in Halo 1, I felt like the music was always kicking in. So I actually think I preferred the music in Halo 1.
So, quick question. Was I imagining it? There's like one level that you're playing, and I think it's right before you fight the Prophet. You can actually hear the chanting, like the classic Halo music. Like you just hear the monks. It's not music. It's like actually sound effects.
Yes. So it's, you probably weren't noticing it, but there was hologram images of the Prophet. He was the one who's chanting. So that's probably why you heard the monks.
Okay. Yeah.
Because whenever he was there, it was monks were chanting.
Okay. Yeah, I happened to notice that. I was like, wait a minute, that's really cool. That's the Halo music, but I'm experiencing it in real time. I guess if we want to call this in another thing, I did a quick Google search, Liz. It doesn't seem like Ron Perlman actually plays games, which is actually
I was just Googling on Andrew's phone, yeah.
Yeah, I found there's an interview where he was asked if you've seen the evolution of games forever, and he said, I don't ever get to a place where I'm experiencing the games as a player. So apparently he doesn't play them. He just likes the money for voice acting them. Because he does a lot. No, it's totally fine. It's just interesting because I think he's done. It looks like he's done a lot more than I realized. Like I think he's been doing just about all the Fallout games in some capacity. So like he's been doing these just games forever, and yeah, I think it's really interesting.
I'm happy that Liz. He's in it no matter what. You know, I mean,
it's like you, Liz. You've been doing a gaming podcast for 3 years, yet you're still not a gamer.
It's very true. So then, of course, the next segment, though, is the achievements.
When you can get them.
Oh, here we go.
I do feel bad, but Liz, you missed 5 gamer score. It is
I missed 2.
Oh, that's true, because then you got the completing the game one as well.
Yeah.
So
go back and play that level again.
So I probably 25 gamer score.
Is that the game the level that I already did like 5 times? Like, no, they need to fix that. Listen, I'm not playing any levels over again. I did my time. I mean, I enjoyed this game, but you guys know how I feel about my time being wasted. My precious time.
I do.
Yeah. So the achievements are just, there's some pretty fun ones, but of course, this being the Master Chief Collection, it's really kind of hard to keep track of some of your achievements you're getting. But there's 7,000 gamer score you're getting with this. But yeah, there's a ton of collectibles. You have the terminals. You have skulls, which majority of the skulls you can only get on legendary difficulty. So that's why we weren't collecting them, Liz. And then there's hidden toys now. This is kind of a new thing. And they're very obscure to find, but it's just another kind of fun, cool Easter egg to collect. But one thing I loved about Halo 2, because this isn't even just the anniversary collection. Halo 2 is full of Easter eggs. So there's one, I remember when I did it when I was a kid. It's very hard to do, but there's a way to like hijack a Banshee, fly way off the map, and there's a plasma rifle you get, but it's actually the Scarab gun, and it literally shoots super fast and just blows everything up.
I remember that.
Yeah, luckily this time around, though, I don't know if you looked at the skulls, Keith, but the skulls are great in Halo 2, but they actually have an option where you can just turn the Scarab gun on. So any gun you're using is the Scarab gun, which is that's just awesome. Like, that's a fun thing to do. But yeah, I forgot to talk about this. The skulls in Halo 2 are really cool. Like, they actually have co-op skulls. Like, there's a skull, if your partner dies, the person who's alive actually gets a damage boost to kind of help him, like, save himself. Or there's, like, another co-op skull where one person doesn't get a gun but has overshield, and the other person has, like, no shield but has unlimited ammo. So it's kind of meant to be like someone's a tank, and the other person's kind of a supporter in the back shooting. And then every once in a while, those roles will switch. And then the other person has like no shield and gun. And it's an interesting concept. So I highly recommend you check out the skulls. The skulls just add a really fun layer. I know you were playing with a little bit of them, Liz. Of course, like you said, the Grunt birthday party. But yeah, when you turn on like enemies are constantly throwing grenades, it's just a wild time.
Yeah, I actually played most of it with, I think, like 3 or 4 skulls. Obviously, Grunt birthday party, because you have to have Grunt birthday party on.
It's so fun. I love that one.
Actually, I don't know if it was just like a weird bug. When I was in the non-anniversary graphics, it didn't do the confetti. So it was
it originally was just children cheering.
Yeah, but anyway, so I obviously did that, but I had one where grunts would like drop plasma grenades when they died or something.
Yep.
And it took me like I remembered, but then I forgot. And so then I was running around dying a lot when I was killing them with a sword. Needless to say, pay attention to what skulls you put on, because if you forget, you could get killed.
Did you see they had a Prophet birthday party? So the one level where you punch the Prophet, it does the cheer, you get confetti too while you're punching him.
Oh, that's awesome. I don't know if I had that.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. So yeah, the achievements overall, I wouldn't recommend for achievement hunters, but with this game having so many achievements, when you're playing it, you're just getting some sort of achievement, but they're not worth a lot.
Yeah, they're all worth like nothing, but I got one in particular. You probably have this one, Andrew, but I think it was play Halo 2 specifically on the 9th of any month. And I just happened to fire him. I was like, oh, okay.
I actually don't have that one.
Yeah.
Because I played on the 10th and I was like, dang it.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing. I just turned on the game and it popped up. I was like, oh, neat.
I can't remember the history for it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, why is that?
I think it's because the original Halo was released on the 9th of November. It's something like that. I remember there's a couple dates that are very specific for Halo. I forget the original story behind them, but I'm pretty sure it has to do with original launch dates.
Yeah, I think it was something about run it back or something. I only have 500 gamer score total with this.
Jeez. I mean, it's because you've never really played Halo before.
No, I know. It's funny to me.
But yeah, majority of the achievements are just kind of searching for fun Easter eggs. So majority of these achievements you're just probably going to look up online and doing, which is fine. It's cool to find these Easter eggs. So getting into our final thoughts here. Like I said, for me, Halo 2 is my favorite. I have such fond memories. We didn't even talk about the multiplayer, but Halo 2 has also the best multiplayer maps, and they still hold up. There's a couple that don't, but I remember, even back in high school, when they were coming out with a map pack, I could not wait to go home and pay the money, download that map pack. The Halo 2 multiplayer is just a ton of fun. Some great game modes, great maps. It's just a fun time, especially if you're playing with your friends. The co-op is great in it. I love the story of Halo 2. I enjoyed the time spending with Arbiter, Master Chief, seeing how the story progresses. There's some fantastic one-liners, and there's a ton of cinematics, and the cinematics are all fantastic. I don't think there's a single one I did not like. And then the anniversary graphics are just amazing. They did an amazing job. So I highly, highly recommend you play Halo 2 and love it forever because it is the best. For me, I will give it a 97.
Wow. I mean, yeah. I'm actually not really surprised by that, but wow. Yeah, I've definitely enjoyed my time with Halo 2 more than I did with Halo. And despite really having nothing bad to say about this game, I don't know. Again, it doesn't do anything special for me in the sense that I'm just like, wow, I'm so glad I did this, or can't wait to play the next one. I'll do it because I believe in you guys and girls and everyone else out there. We can get to 10, but that said, I don't know, something about the Halo series. It's almost like a Star Wars. I just never got into it, and at this point, I have nothing against it. I don't know. I don't feel like I need it in my life. But it's a lot of fun, though. It really is. I think especially, I know I didn't play any multiplayer this go around, but multiplayer in all the Halo games is really just the best part of any Halo game. I'm quite certain of that. So if you've got some friends and you want to play through it, probably just play the multiplayer. But even the co-op is fun. So, I think overall I still give it a solid 84.
See, it's really hard hearing you guys' scores because I'm already a little confused about what to get it. But I'm like,
I know it lost points for you because of the crashing.
Yeah, well, it's hard. It's hard too because it's one of those games that I enjoy when I'm playing it, but I don't get that feeling of I need to just right when my kid goes to bed, I need to get on and play. I never have that feeling. But I'm there's not a lot that I feel like I would change about it. And then I definitely liked it more than Keith. I know that. But I'm I don't have the nostalgia and all of that Andrew has. So maybe I'll give it a 90. I don't know how I feel about that score. But I just know that I liked it at least 6 points more than Keith. And I'm but it's also I feel like maybe more than that is too much. So yeah, I'll just stick with 90.
So were you excited to play with me when I was let's play Halo?
Yeah.
But you weren't excited to play by yourself.
Yes, but I still like. I mean, there's some games I was just like, I found time throughout the week to put in as many hours as I could, and that wasn't Halo. You know, where it's just like I'm surprised at how many hours that I can find and fit in the day. But yeah, looking at Metacritic, there for some reason, like with Xbox, there isn't like an anniversary Halo 2 like they do have with PC.
Yeah, because it was never sold as is. It was only part of the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah. So looking at just Halo 2, 95 and 8.7. And I looked for our fourth co-host, but I didn't see him in like the negatives. But there are just so many reviews that, you know, like there was well over 600.
Yeah.
So I looked at the negative and I didn't see him. So I'm like, I don't think. But the biggest complaint I feel like that I saw, or the one that popped up the most, was like how short it is. People who gave it a 0 or a 1, they were just talking about how short it was. And it's just like,
yeah, time to beat for main story, you're looking between 8 to 10 hours. So it's not too long of a game.
But you're supposed to do it on the different difficulties, and it's supposed to have more replayability.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so short.
I love playing this game on Legendary. There's some very hard segments, but it is a fun game to play on harder difficulties.
I think it's short and sweet.
Yeah, I feel like if you move through it, it can be quicker because outside of a few levels, they have like the par time, and just about all of them range around 15 minutes. So if you actually hit those par times for 15, like you're talking like 3-4 hours to beat the game.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a lot of levels where you're not like locked into an area. Like in Halo 1, you had to kill all the enemies in order to unlock the door. But in Halo 2, you could just ignore a lot of people and just run right by them, which, as Liz said, we did when the game would crash on us. But yeah, so that is our review of Halo 2. So thank you all so much for joining us. As I said, if you want us to continue the Halo series, we need at least 10 people to tell us to keep going. And like I said, we might do Halo 2 ODST unless people are telling us to skip that one. We might go to Halo 3. But for release order, though, ODST is the next one, so we might end up doing that.
We'll do a Twitter poll once we get enough votes.
Yeah, we'll probably do that. So yeah, make sure you write us at gamepassgrabbag@gmail.com or reach out to us on Twitter at GBGBpod or Facebook at GBGBpod. I've been your hardcore gamer, Andrew. You can find me at Xbox Live at Firebird0152. And make sure, wherever you listen, make sure you give us a review. We greatly appreciate it.
Oh, that would be so nice. We'd always appreciate that. But I've been Keith, and dang it, no good pun this week either. One week I'll get a good pun.
One of these days.
You know, I was actually thinking because Andrew always says like, oh, leave us a review. And it made me think like, I don't leave a lot of reviews. And
have you left us a review?
Oh, I don't think so. I feels like cheating, but I do. Like I was telling Andrew, like I feel like we've been getting takeout a lot lately because like I haven't been well. So yeah, we've been doing that, and I've worked in food service, and when you leave 5-star reviews, a happy manager is a happy work life. That's a saying, right? Happy manager, happy work life.
It is now.
And they actually do bring up reviews to like, if they get like good reviews, it's a good day, or at least where I worked. So I'm just saying like, give somebody a good review. Give someone a good Yelp review. You know, I feel like I just need to start doing that with the other podcasts that I listen to. So, you know, just spread the joy. And I'm Liz the Noob, gamer tag. Come on, I'm Dean. I'm on Twitter at Liz the Noob. Noob is EW.
Yeah, it's a good life tip, Lips.
It is.
Honestly though, I worked in customer service. Most of those surveys you do, if you don't give like a perfect score, which I tend to not do because I'm like, I don't know, no one's perfect. They were, but 9 out of 10, they were excellent. But I learned if they were even satisfactory, give them the perfect score because that's the only thing management cares about.
And write something.
I always hated that.
Everything else, it's bullcrap. It's absolute and total bullcrap. But anything not a perfect score is a 0, generally speaking, in customer service surveys. So if you are one to fill them out and you are trying to do the right thing, always leave a 10. So with that being said, leave us a 5 score. 5-star review.
That's not why I said it. But
I am.
Yeah, it would
That's
be
why
nice.
I'm saying it.
Yeah, because me and Liz, we both used to work at Panera. That's actually how we met. Oh. And I always hated that when it's just like, oh, we got a 4-star because their sandwich was too small, which is something that's like, we can't fix that. Like, Why are we getting yelled at? Like 4-star because they thought their sandwich was small.
But
Like,
you
this is
know
stupid.
that there's always going to be one jerk who's going to go to an understaffed place and pick on somebody and leave a negative review. And so, do you know what? We need to just drown those negative Nancys out, you know? And, you know, if you didn't get the greatest service, just don't leave a review. But if you go to a place and it's just like, this person was nice, my order was perfect, 5 stars.
It's good advice, Liz. So all in all, just be nice to people, especially people who serve you food.
Especially, and give them good tips too.
Yeah, don't be rude to someone who makes your food. Like,
Oh, not even that. Just leave good tips. You're good people.
I hate tips.
Oh,
That's a whole tangent I can go on. Why is that a thing?
I hate it as a
he
concept.
still tips, by the way. I just want to point that out there.
I do.
That
I
he
do.
thinks that like people should pay their employees better, but he does tip.
Just pay people. Tips statistically don't do anything to improve better service. So yeah, just pay people and all that. But anyways, good night, everybody.
Thank you all so much for joining. We love you all. See you again next week.
Bye, guys.